Man, sometimes it feels like we are so far removed from reality. We're going to talk about a little bit of life stuff. We'll wrap it into cards, of course. What's going on, sports card hobby family? Another day we are back, as you knew we would be, for another sports card collectibles show. Before I get started, huge shout out to today's video sponsor, DC Sports 87. These are the folks that, man, if you don't feel like selling stuff yourself on eBay, you just want somebody else to take care of it for you and do it efficiently and well, you can shoot your cards off to DC Sports 87 as auctions end. It's all updated in real time on their website. You can see as payments come through, and it's 1 business day turnaround time from when you request payment from them, and it's heading over to you. So definitely, if you want to check them out, DC Sports 87. All right, a little life talk with Dustin today, but I think that it's relatable, frankly. I saw a meme, kind of one of those life memes. I was scrolling along that really kind of struck me out of nowhere, and you would think, like, it really shouldn't have. I mean, it's a really basic message, but it got me thinking a little bit, and essentially the gist of it was, life is great. I'm not worried about where my next meal is going to come from. I have consistent, stable shelter, and I have my health. And it's like, okay, pretty basic stuff, but it made me just kind of stop there for a second and think about my own life, how I operate at times, and how others in my family and others that I see, the same way. And it was just such a basic quote, kind of a basic statement, but it really hit home for me just how really privileged I am to be able to have disposable income to operate in this hobby. You would think that's kind of a basic thing, especially here in the US, buying cards and collectibles. My wife's cousin is visiting here from Italy, and she's great. She has a master's degree that she got over in Italy. That's where they grew up. And a lot of folks in Italy, they do have advanced degrees. But you know what? They just don't have anywhere near the opportunities, the job market that we do in the US. So you have extremely educated people that are over there in Europe, and they are limited to kind of, the EU's options or, their country's options. And it's not to say that they don't have any opportunities, but it's just not in the same galaxy as what we see here in the US. But the one thing that struck me too is so it might be a little bit more simple standard of living. It might be lesser wages and that sort of thing. She can't even, talking about my wife's cousin, buying real estate, buying her own home is not even on the radar, given the wages to kind of what real estate costs. Now, a lot of people do talk about in the US, it's kind of similar. You have high real estate prices, wages are here, whatever, but it's not even in the same world. I guess what I'm saying is, still way better here in the US in comparison to other countries buying into real estate. A lot of times real estate over in other countries has to be passed down. It has to be like, okay, great, my family was fortunate enough to be able to buy real estate, and then eventually it passes down to that next generation. It's just not easy to buy real estate because of the cost differences. But look, simple life for sure, different standard of living, but that doesn't mean that she's less happy. If anything, the thing that's interesting is I think that she's probably more happy than the average American is. But we, again, have all the opportunities, have the access to all the stuff, but it doesn't equate into happiness. And I thought that was just interesting to think about and to just kind of chew on a little bit. Because when it comes to collecting, it's always, it's a tough balance, because for me, and I collect Drew Brees, I'll throw that out as an example. I really enjoy adding, cool Brees cards to my collection. And I get excited about $50 cards or $500 cards. It's not as if there's, it's got to be a $5,000 card for me to be excited about it. I just enjoy adding kind of cool, rare-ish type stuff at reasonable prices. An example, just recently, a Tom Brady 2015 Silver Prism, BGS 9.5. Okay, so it doesn't have the subgrades, but it is a gem mint card, according to BGS, and it was running at auction. I already have a couple of copies of this card in a PSA 10, but it was sitting at like $21, with like 4 hours to go or something like that. And I put a high bid at $80 or something. So I was like, what, $80? That's a pretty good value. I think that's a good price. It ended at $51. $51 for Silver Prism, BGS 9.5, Tom Brady. And it's not a numbered card. I wouldn't say it's a mega rare card, but I just love that card. I love the look of it. And I just felt like, man, that's a card that I wouldn't mind just kind of adding more copies at the right price. And we talked about recently with prices moving downward on a lot of cards there, we are starting to see some of these kind of slip through the cracks. And that part has been fun. And I know I'm not the only one. There's other people that are enjoying this as well. But I'm trying to strike a balance here between, adding kind of cool pieces to the collection, but then also just being grateful for the stuff that I have. That's the other part where it's like, a lot of times we're always it's always that next chase. It's always that next thing. And it's like, but man, look at all the cool stuff around. There's all of us have a collection of different types of cards that we like. And it might be one card or it might be 1,000 cards that you really enjoy. But it's just keeping a mindset of, man, how lucky am I to be able to participate in this hobby, to not have to worry about consistent shelter, not have to worry about where my next meal is gonna come from. We're just really privileged, I feel like, to be in the hobby and to be able to, to participate. And so then I think when we're talking about different things, it's like, God, okay, you bought a box and then you open up some packs and the cards are off centered. Did that ruin your day? That ruined your day, really? Just given all the things going on in the world, maybe it's just a function of social media and giving people an outlet to be able to just dive on the keyboard and complain about a restaurant or a card company or whatever it is. But it's like, man, especially here in the United States, it drives me absolutely nuts, the stuff that people complain about, that get worked up about. Oh my gosh, my coffee was, 100 degrees instead of the 128 degrees that I ordered it from Starbucks. Like, wow, oh man, what a tough run it's been. It's like, that's what's hard to watch. News media is all screwed up, giving you all sort of stupid information. That's all fitting an agenda. A lot of the social media you go on and it's just kind of like, blah, 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 complain. And granted, no, look, when we're talking about hobby complaining, I do like the meme stuff, or calling out scammy stuff. That's fine. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about people that they wake up in the morning looking for anything to complain about. That's what I'm getting at, because there's plenty of those people out there and social media kind of magnifies that. And again, I'll just go back to, my wife's cousin coming from Italy and just with far less opportunity over there, worked her tail off to get into a stable job that pays an average wage to be able to have, what she's got, and she's grateful for it and enjoying it. And I think, man, we could take a page out of that book, whether we're talking about hobbyists or Americans. And granted, I know not everyone that watches this is from the US, but if you're in kind of one of these countries to where we have privilege over a lot of other countries out there that, are just trying to figure out where their next meal is going to come from. So that just kind of struck me. I know that was a really basic quote, but I was like, man, I just need to stop and I just need to just chill out. I just need to stop, reflect, be thankful for what we've got, what we've got at this point. Because everybody that's out there at the card show, everybody that's out there online buying cards on eBay or, any of these other auction sites, we are privileged to be taking part in this sports card and collectibles hobby. So let's not forget that. Take care of each other. All right, guys, that's all I've got. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.